Alright, so I just added 4 new books to my collection of self-improvement books, and that made me think, what books would I recommend to a younger version of myself? And how would I make the most out of every book I read? And so that's what I'm going to be talking about in this video. Before that, let me introduce myself. My name is Julian, and just around 3 years ago, I was a bullied skinny kid that had nothing going for himself in life. I was basically the definition of a degenerate, and that's when I found out what self-improvement was, and I decided to change my life around to who I am today. And that's why I created this channel, so I can help teens in the same situation as I was get on self-improvement and become the best versions of themselves. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, feel free to subscribe and join us. Alright, so let's get straight into it with the essentials. Now, the first book that I have to add to the essentials is Atomic Habits. If you're just starting off self-improvement, this is the number one book I would recommend to myself starting off, since this book not only helps you build good habits, but also explain to you the ways that people believe habits are built which are wrong, and not only that, but also how to break bad habits. I really recommend this book, especially if you're looking for really a chapter of your life, since this will also give you so much more info. This is not just a book. The James Clear, the author of this book, has put so much effort into giving as much info as possible. Like, he even has a newsletter, he has an app, he has everything to help you stick to your habits. So this is a number one pick for me, especially if you struggle with keeping your habits. The next essential is the first self-improvement book I ever read myself, and that is Rich Dad Poor Dad. Now, that might seem like a weird title, but this book is essential for learning the basics of sales, and not only that, but how to escape the rat race, which in modern term is escaping the matrix. But so he really helps explain how a lot of people fall into the trap of a 9 to 5, and how, and especially in this book, he uses a lot of designs. Like here you can see he uses designs to explain how expenses and how to manage your income and all that. And this book is a very good thing to start with. It's not long at all. I think it's only around 200 pages, but these pages are very short if you look at my hand. So it's a short but great one. Now the next one, and I would really recommend this to help build your confidence as a beginner, is How to Win Friends and Influence People. This book is literally a necessity if you're trying to get as successful as possible, since this will help you not only understand people better, but also get on their good sides, which is an extremely important tool to have in your collection. Now, the last book I would recommend is Can't Hurt Me. This book is literally amazing. I am so glad that I had it, because the principles that he teaches in this book aren't that important, but just seeing what he was able to accomplish in his life and how he explains it, how he was able to push through it, and then the challenges that he gives you yourself are just amazing. And I wish that I read this book sooner. This book has taught me so much, and it also leads into his sequel, if I can find it, which is Never Finished. And Never Finished is literally 10 times better than this one. But the only way you can read this one is if you know who David Goggins is by reading this book. In this book, he literally explains how he got into that mindset, how he was able to become the man he became, and how he was able to stick with it when after he was able to get all the fame and all that, and how he didn't let it get to his head. Both of these books are great to read. Now, all of these books I've read myself, because I truly love all of them. But so now let me go over some of the ones which I just bought. And the reason I bought these is because I was recommended to them, or I just found them interesting. The first one is The Power of Now. And I chose this book because I heard that it was like about spirituality and all that, but mainly because I struggle a lot with either sticking to the past or the future. And I heard that this book can help you feel more in the present, and so I took this one. The first one I'm going to read from the new ones is The 48 Laws of Power. I cannot stress this enough. I haven't even read this book, but it literally just has like an aura. This book is so famous for a good reason. It literally teaches 48 principles on how to become as successful as possible, and I can't wait to read it and get as much info as possible. But so now let me get into the last books I would recommend. But before I get into how I would recommend you go about reading books, and those are Never Split the Difference, The Diary of a CEO, and the one that I'm rereading right now, Think and Grow Rich. So Never Split the Difference. This is one of my favorite books because it was literally made by an FBI negotiator, and it talks about how to negotiate your businesses and how to use principles which they use in the FBI in business and in contracts and all that, and how he's literally taught his students. He gives you the techniques he used in his coaching on how to reach all those things. And I've used the principles in this book so many times to get what I want. I cannot stress this enough. If you really want to learn how to sell a deal, this is a great book for doing that. Now, the last two books I'm going to go over is The Diary of a CEO and Think and Grow Rich. This one I really like because it talks about the 33 laws of business and life, and especially I like the fact that you can use a lot of these principles as a teenager and just, to build a better friend circle, to build all of that. And the book is very interesting. As you can see, he uses a very unique style of writing, and he uses many graphs, everything to keep you not only engaged, but to make it funner to learn. And I really like that concept. And now, from all of those books, my favorite one is yet to come, and that is Think and Grow Rich. This is the only book from all of them which I've read twice. And the reason for that is there's so much info in this book, which is literally what made me realize that I was reading books wrong this entire time. And so this is how you can read books as efficiently as possible. What I want you to do is find a pen, pencil, or highlighter, and when you're reading, highlight all the points which you think might be interesting, or the points which you actually enjoyed or liked. And this is going to help you cut away from all of the bullshit, since most books, let's be honest, there's a lot of bullshit between the very useful lessons. But I really like this idea because it also, you're going to be searching for things to highlight, so it's going to get you more engaged in reading. What I want you to also realize is, and I kind of fell in this trap myself, I was up to 20 pages every day. And you can probably figure out that 20 pages every day meant I was flying through pages during the day. And that helped me realize that I was reading the wrong way. I was reading for quantity and not quality. And what I want you to start doing is, instead of reading 20 or 15 pages, I want you to start reading 10 or even 5 pages, but spend as much time as you would for those 15 to 20 on those pages. I want you to analyze the words, because self-improvement books are not like your average books. These, every single word is gold. And especially the books that I showed you, I only got the good ones. So I want you to really understand that the only way you're going to be able to use the principles in this book is if you make every book like an era. You have to literally dedicate your entire life to the principles in the book while you're reading it. You cannot just go from one book to another, and that is what I realized while reading this. I'm using these principles in real life, and I'm slowly going through this before I go on to my next book, which will be like another era. I will use all of the principles, I will suck all of the knowledge out of the book and put it into my brain. You have to understand that just reading the words isn't gonna help you, and this book actually taught me that as well. What you really have to be doing is you have to put emotion into it. You have to put your happiness, your anger, your sadness into it, because the only way that thoughts are remembered is if they are with an emotion. If you're just thinking random thoughts, then in 5 minutes you probably won't even remember it. But if you have an emotion attached to it, like anger, fear, happiness, or sadness, it's gonna slowly go into your brain and hardwire it a certain way. And this book actually talks about that principle using the idea of auto-suggestion, where in your mind you repeat the words over and over until it is literally hardwired into your subconscious. So those are the books that I wanted to share with you, and I really recommend every single one of these for every teenager. But what I also would love for you to do is stop reading books the way you are doing right now and start following the principle that I showed. Start dedicating your life to the book you're reading and start sucking out every word of knowledge of that book. You do not want to just fly through these books, because you are not going to get the same knowledge out of 10 books you're flying through as one man is from just reading one book and dedicating his life to. If you're just reading the words, you will get zero knowledge than the guy who is dedicating his life to it and reading as much as possible. But so as you can tell, I've got a massive book collection. So let me grab all of these before I let you go for today. Thank you all for watching. And I hope you have a great day.